The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him the Grand Circle Tour podcast sent you.
What's a girl like you doing in a job like this?
Well, when I was a little girl, I thought I'd like to be a scientist, so I became a scientist.
Just like that?
Just like that.
See, I'm just so lazy today, I was going to let you hit the button. It's a lazy Saturday. That's what I was going to do, let you hit the button. Aloha, passengers. Skipper Jay with you, with my favoriteest co-host of all, Mr. Justin. I'm enjoying a lovely glass of scotch, and I'm in a great mood because we are about to talk about Doctor Who Season 5, 1967.
Season 5. So we're still in the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, and whereas last season was kind of the animated season, this is the Base Under Siege season.
This entire season is Base Under Siege.
Pretty much all of it, except for one story. It's all Base Under Siege.
Right. Which is a trope in Doctor Who, but it is a comfortable trope that I love.
So let's get into it.
You know people are going to die. You know poop's going to go down.
It's black and white, but we can still tell which one's the red shirt.
Oh, yes.
Well, we start off the season with one of your favorite episodes here too.
This Tomb of the Cybermen is one of my all-time favorite Doctor Who stories. You said Base Under Siege. This is just, to me, one of the most classic episodes of Doctor Who of all time. And it was lost for a really long time.
But it's all found and assembled again. So I think it's even been released on DVD.
It was one of the first Doctor Who DVDs I bought. We find the Cyberman on Talos. We get the Cybermats for the first time. We get the Cyber Controller, which I've always wondered, why is his brain so big? Are they just like shoving extra brains under the helmet piece? Because that is one big brain when you look at it.
It is. I mean, it kind of looks ridiculous, but because it's 1960s costume design and special effects. But
you know, it makes a great action figure on my shelf. I love to look at it. The only negative in this whole story is Toberman, who I always call this character Mongo. From Blazing Saddles.
Right, because I think he was originally supposed to be deaf, and then they kind of changed that at the last minute, so he just kind of ends up being.
He grunts. He. It's funny because they're trying to be progressive here at this time, and they're like, "Look, we're putting a black character on screen." Unfortunately, he perpetuates the black man dies first trope.
Not to mention, everyone just kind of orders him around, and he's more like he's there to like lift things and carry things.
He lifts things and he grunts, and he's the one who he's literally the first and last one to die in the story. Other than that, I love the music, I love the set design, just great performances, this is classic Doctor Who at its best. This is Doctor Who at its best. It is slow. It's very more white than black and white. It's very, very brightly lit black and white sets.
Which a lot of them were, yeah. I mean,
it's very washed out in a lot of places. But it is a great story. And we get that great gag of Jamie and the Doctor holding hands.
Yes. And I love that the two of them, those two actors, just had such great rapport to work together. And so that was something that the two of them kind of like worked out ahead of time, just so they could do that little bit. And it's a fun little bit. I love that. I love seeing that.
What I love about that is how high their hands are together, because it's the way it's being shot. They lift their hands up like to their heads to do this.
To make sure you see it and make sure you notice it. And yeah, it's almost like a bit out of something like vaudeville or something, where they're exaggerating it that much to make sure you're catching what they're doing. So we have Victoria as the companion as well. She was brought in last season with Evil of the Daleks, I believe.
And Justin, I have nothing against the character of Victoria. I think Deborah Watling was great. Truth be told, and I think this is the writer's fault, but every story going forward to her last one, she doesn't have a lot to do. She's very much stands on the sideline and screams, and it's a real stark contrast. Like, we had Polly last season.
Mm-hmm. I think it is the writing, though. I mean, because there's so much of a tendency to write the female characters that way, especially now that they have Jamie and Patrick Troughton kind of working together so well. Yeah. I think they really tried to focus on those two so much more. The
chemistry between those two, that is one of the great companion teams of all time. I mean, Doctor companion teams of all time to this day. Mm-hmm. I think she really gets. I think it's unfortunate how little she's given to do. Like I said, because you had Polly last season, who was kicking ass and like taking out Cybermen with makeup remover.
Like you do.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just, you go from these great characters to one who's just kind of there, and they treat her like two brothers taking their little sister out, and we're not going to do this again.
Yeah, that part is a bit unfortunate. So next up, we have the Abominable Snowman. Now, one of the 6 episodes has survived. I believe this is one that has been animated again.
It has been animated. And this is a flag I'm going to come to later on in the season about animated versus fighting these episodes, because I love the animation. I love getting to see it, and that the original audio exists, and that there is an outlet to see it as it would have been seen as best as possible.
Yeah, and we talked about this quite a bit last time as well, that some of the animation is better than other animations, and it's depending on how much time and money they had to put into it and such. And you really can't fully recreate what you can't see, right? I mean, so you don't know until we find these episodes. We don't know exactly how Patrick Troughton played his character, the exact facial expressions that he had, and things like that.
This exact thing is going to come up huge later this season, which I can't wait to get to talk about. Because you really get to see what an amazing actor he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he is fantastic, and so we do lose a lot of that aspect of it with the animations. But like you say, it is also good to have those, so you do have that sort of visual.
Yeah, as a fan, I love getting to see it in any way I can. I've sat through all the telesnaps just to get a flavor of what I would have seen.
Mm-hmm. So now this one introduces the Great Intelligence, and that's a character that has been back as recently as
2013.
Like Matt Smith's just before the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, this is something I love, and we're going to get to it later in the season, where I love that this enemy is not defeated, but is sent so far out it's going to take 11 regenerations to run into the Doctor again. And
space
boy,
is really
will
big.
he have a chip on his not shoulder that doesn't exist.
But so in this one, we have what they originally think are Yetis. Turns out to be robots that look like Yetis, being controlled by the Great Intelligence. And so that's just kind of a fun little bit. So we're in the Himalayas.
We get the second Doctor in that fantastic, oversized, I think it's a mink coat. It's some kind of fur
coat. And I think he wears that again in the 5 Doctors special.
Yeah, we're gonna see it, and I actually ordered a TARDIS and figure set, even though I already have the second Doctor in his TARDIS in 2 different color variations. This one comes with him in his coat, and I was like, dude,
you gotta have the coat.
you gotta have the third one.
It is a rather interesting and practically iconic look.
It's very iconic look. I love the oversized coat. I'm gonna make sure that the image this week for this week's episode is just him in his big old pimp coat. Let's put it that way.
Now I'm trying to remember. Is this the episode where Lethbridge Stewart gets introduced as well?
Not yet. That will be a few stories later on.
I know it's this season, and I was trying to remember which one. They're all Base Under Siege ones, so I've kind of forgotten which one.
It's Web of Fear is when we're going to meet Stewart for the first time.
Okay. So not this one, but this one, like I said, introduces the Great Intelligence as a villain. And I think he even comes back. So
and this is like, we really saw some major changes to the TARDIS set this time. There's new rooms, there's new sounds, the monitors moving around. It's the whole inside of the TARDIS has suddenly changed.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've seen that big of a change to that set.
This made little changes, but this is bam in your face noticeable.
Yeah, going forward, I mean, we start to see kind of major changes almost with every Doctor at least, and
what I love
sometimes within the same Doctor. I mean, like the 4th Doctor goes and has his secondary console room that he finds, and
I better get it.
13th Doctor,
figure set of that console room this year for the 60th. I better get a 4th Doctor wooden console room soon.
That is the look of that one is one of my favorites. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic ones. Yeah. And this is also the first time we found out the Doctor can use hypnosis.
He can do many things, but yeah it's like he just
kind of like
pulls that out of the air, let's say.
Yeah, and he can unhypnotize his companions. We find out in this one. He's very much like Golden Age Superman, who could literally do anything, like shoot tiny little Supermen out of his fingers.
Well, we do find out later that the way the translation works, why the companions can understand all the different languages and such, is because the TARDIS is connecting to their minds basically, and doing that translation for them on the fly.
What I love is it's going to take almost 40 years to get to the point of consent with that, when Rose goes, hey, wait, you just went in my mind without asking. Everybody to this point is like, cool.
Hey, I can understand everything.
I can read anything now. For that gift, I would totally be like, yeah, poke around. You get bored.
I would totally agree to that. I would love to understand everything, although the Doctor still manages to confuse people.
I would not let Elon Musk put a chip in my head, but I would let the Doctor. Don't come at me, bros. Don't come at me.
But yeah, so this one's been animated. It's also available on DVD. So that one's another one that's it's easy to get hold of.
And you can find this one for about $10 on eBay with free shipping. I did a quick look, and that's about what it comes out to. For if you want a used one that's very good condition, like new.
So next up, we get another Base Under Siege. This time it's the Ice Warriors, and again, this is one that they've brought back within New Who.
We're going to see these guys going forward forever. These guys are actually one of my top 5 favorite monsters, but I wouldn't... It's fun. They're my top 5 favorite monsters, but I can't classify them as a monster at the same time. because they're not really an enemy. They're not really a bad guy. They're just doing what they do. And I mean, we see them at peace summits going forward.
Right. So they're almost like the Silurians in that way, where they're here, they're kind of doing their thing. They're not really like trying to like take over the world or anything that evil.
Yeah, they've kind of put at this point they've kind of put their military behind them. They're trying to go forward.
Yeah. So that's that one. It introduces that whole monster or whatever we want to call them. Yeah, I was just looking. Most of the episodes are
There's 4 of 6 we have.
4 of 6, but it has been animated again.
Yeah. And this, even though it's only 2 animated ones, this is one of my favorites stories visually because it is so mod 60s. The
design of those ice warriors is just really cool.
The ice warriors, the costumes for the regular people, the sets. There's just something so very Austin Powers about this episode. You're like, this is the 60s I want to remember in my head.
Absolutely. So
I'm a sucker for go-go boots.
Yeah, and once again, so yeah, all of these, I was noticing this whole season, except for Tomb and the Cybermen, they're all 6 episodes long.
Right.
So it's a nice bit of consistency for a change.
It's nice to get a nice month and a half of one story. I will say one thing about this story is you really see this here, where the Doctor goes between clown and menace, because he is danger and cunning, especially in the story. And you really see, where he goes from like having a 5 o'clock shadow and looking like he's 2 drinks in, to just being the clown again, and the way he's able to go back and forth in play it with his face and his eyes in this story.
Yeah, he likes to have some fun. He has some good zingers along the way.
Yeah.
As he's talking to people. But you're right. I mean, he does that whole sort of buffoonish clown act to kind of throw people off. But when things get real, he's there and he knows what's going on and he knows what to do about it.
And the way he changes on a dime, and it's so believable.
That was one thing I always enjoyed about Matt Smith's Doctor as well, is he could do that same thing. He could be the silly fun boy at one moment and instantly switch to you want to back away from him slowly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Matt was so good at being the old man of the kid's body, but I love how much he took from Patrick Troughton for his Doctor. Because I think we go from the 2nd Doctor to the 7th Doctor to the 11th Doctor. Because when 11 got dark, he got dark.
Yeah, absolutely. He does. And again, Patrick Troughton is just such a fantastic actor. He makes that switch believable and, as you say, on a dime when needed.
Which is why I can't wait to talk about the next story, but we're almost there.
We are almost there. Is there anything more you want to talk about this story before we move on to that one?
I will say this is one where we see, the last thing I'll say about the Ice Warriors is this is one where we see, going back to that cunning and dangerous person, he's more concerned about the problem and solving the problem than the danger his companions are in. And so we get to see that dark Doctor, smiley Doctor, at the same time, really early on here.
I think it was in Tomb of the Cybermen, actually, where he has this wonderful little bit going, okay, this could be really dangerous. Anyone who wants to leave better do so right now.
Right.
Not you, Jamie.
Yeah. Well, and this season is really where we see the Doctor start going, ooh, danger, fun. Because for some reason I can't remember what
gets into that action adventure mode. Doesn't he?
He's really starting to enjoy his life now.
And again, I feel like Jamie kind of helps to bring that out in him.
This is where we see the Doctor, eat, love, pray. Yes, no, I mean, there's I can't remember which episode it is, but there's a scene where Victoria asks him, Doctor, is it safe to leave the TARDIS? And he's like, oh heavens no, let's go. We really see him start to settle into, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is fun. I love my life.
Yeah, he starts to enjoy the danger, enjoy the adventure of it all.
This is known as the monster season, but it should be called the Dr. Eat Loves Prey season.
All right, well, let's get on to the next one, because this one's fantastic. This one is not. This is the one entry that is not a base under siege, and this one's called The Enemy of the World. And the Doctor travels to, I believe it was 2018, Australia.
Australia, yes. And I'm so disappointed that 2018 did not look as groovy as it promised us. Because again, short skirts, thigh-high boots, big hair. I love everything about this 2018 except for Salamander.
We find that the Doctor looks exactly like this other character named Salamander, who is kind of an possibly evil politician. We've got like two sides arguing with each other, and the Doctor is trying to figure out which side is good and which side is bad. So he knows who to help and who to stop.
Yeah, he's very much a Bond villain, and I'll touch upon that in a little bit on this story.
I saw this one described as the Doctor in a James Bond setting. He's not James Bond, he's still the Doctor, but it's sort of a James Bond-like setting, and just this kind of like political intrigue kind of level of things. And he portrays, Patrick Troughton portrays both Salamander and the Doctor, and the Doctor impersonating Salamander. Right.
So we have three performances here from the same actor. I hate it when I have a thought and it goes away. Please speak for me.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. I somehow manage to interrupt my own train of thought, and I don't know how I do that. But yeah, this is a fantastic performance by Patrick Troughton all the way through. Yeah. And like we were saying before, you really kind of see how good of an actor Troughton is here to play these different, not just to play these two different characters that sound different, that act different. But then acting choices, his one timing. Of them impersonating the other, and you believe that as well.
And this is one of those ones that was returned to us in 2013, and this is what makes I was talking about earlier. Remember, the animations are great to see, but this is where you get to see what a truly great actor Troughton is. There's so much to his performance. There's so much going on. Watching him here, you're like, damn, I really wish last season existed.
Yeah, and you really lose that performance when you can't see it.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you
can hear his voice on the audio recordings, but to just see a still photo of him as one character or as the other, you don't see the nuance of his acting, and that was a real shame.
Yeah,
and it's a real shame for a lot of these others, but here we do get to see it, and it really shows what we're missing.
Yeah, because we are missing a lot when we're not getting to see this man do his job. He's just so good. And also, this is I think the only episode season, the only story in the whole season where we don't have a monster.
Yeah, there isn't really a monster. We've got these two sides fighting each other, and like I say, the Doctor is struggling to figure out, well, which one should he help and which one should he stop.
Yeah. So one thing I want to touch on.
We won't spoil the ending of that, but
but we do get to see the Vortex for the first time at the ending. So Barry Letts directed this, and if you know, Barry Letts produced the John Pertwee era, and this is very much a Proto Pertwee episode, because this could have been one of his stories 2 seasons later.
Absolutely. Pertwee practically is a James Bond version.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the James Bond stuff, we've got the action, we've got the gadgets, the hovering, the helicopters, everything about this is very much ahead of its time story-wise for the show. And you can see where this style is going to come back when the director takes full control of the show.
Yeah, I could totally see dropping Pertwee in place of Troughton and having that story work just as well.
Yeah, it would be interesting to get to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that one, all 6 episodes are available. So that is good.
It has really great side characters in this story. Really great side characters, really great acting, really great. They're fleshed out. Again, great performances. This is a 5 out of 5 on this season.
Yeah, I would agree. It is a really good story. So the next one up is Web of Fear, and this one picks up right where the last one left off.
Which doesn't
the
happen
TARDIS is
often.
in the vortex, and
yeah, it's trying to go anywhere but the London Underground.
So this is it's 6 episodes. 5 of them are available. 1 is missing. And I think that one has been an animated reconstruction as well.
Yeah, but what really stabs the heart about the one missing episode from this season is it is Lethbridge Stewart's first appearance on the show. It's the first time we see Nicholas Courtney. And of course, it's the one that is in someone's attic somewhere.
Well, we better find that person's attic. Stat.
I will begin. I got my flashlight. I will begin my search immediately.
Yeah, so we get Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, and he is a character that he reappeared. I mean, obviously a lot throughout the Third Doctor's era, the Fourth Doctor's era, the Fifth Doctor's era. He showed up in the Sarah Jane Adventures. I mean,
he's back on audio. The actor playing him on Big Finish, you cannot tell the difference. It sounds like Nick Courtney. And so we're getting new stories with this character. I just listened to one with him of the Ninth Doctor a few weeks ago.
And as I understand it, he got the part partly because the guy who was supposed to play it didn't show up that day.
And that's just fate, because much like Captain Jack, who got moved into his own thing, his performance is so strong. He's so likable. He's so good with the Doctor. Everything about this character and this actor works. So they are going to bring him back during this era, but damn, right at the start of the next one, he's going to be in every episode. He is going to be at the Doctor's side for a majority of the stories going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially, like I say, during the Third Doctor's run.
So I can't wait to talk about it. It's one of my favorite eras ever. This has one of my all-time favorite lines in Doctor Who, and it's a very cool feminist line. Anne Travers, who is the Proto Liz Shaw.
Okay.
You really think that they're going to swap out Victoria for Anne Travers in this episode, the way she and the Doctor get along, but she's doing her sciencey thing, and the soldier goes, I'm going to put the audio clip right here, but I'm going to recite it for Justin.
How's it going?
Just fine.
What's a girl like you doing in a job like this?
Well, when I was a little girl, I thought I'd like to be a scientist, so I became a scientist.
Just like that?
Just like that.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, it's just a great line, and like I said, you're gonna see this. This is Proto Liz. You're gonna see this character come back, unfortunately, with a different name and a different actress. Wow,
what I find interesting about this is that this one now, it kind of brings back those same Yeti robots and the great intelligence and whatnot again.
Okay, they're not the Yeti. In this one, they're the adorable snowmen. They are plushies I want to squeeze and hold in this one.
Yeah, they
really changed them out.
They do look different.
These ones are great for merchandising.
Yeah, it's like you almost wonder, did they make them? Did they plan that? Was that the plan?
It's kind of like they Ewok'd them between the last appearance and this one. Because even I'm like, oh, I want one.
But I find it interesting that it's just like about 2 stories removed from where these were introduced, and they're brought back now.
Right, and it works. It really, really works. Having a sequel to the earlier adventure in the season.
Because you didn't see so much of like that kind of arc storytelling.
No.
Back in 1967. Nowadays, of course, that's about all you get with about any show, but that's kind of an unusual thing. To have the kind of continuation of a story like that.
Right, especially at this time. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. And for me, I think this is one of those, and this is why it pains me it doesn't all exist. This is a perfect season of Doctor Who. This is everything Doctor Who is and was, and it promises so much for the future of the show. I love this season.
Absolutely. So this one is another really great one.
So next up we have, I hate to admit it, the mostly forgettable Fury from the Deep.
Fury from the Deep. Now all of them are missing.
I say
that one is animated.
This one's animated. I say the season's perfect except for the story. Okay.
Just skip over this one. That's fine.
This isn't my favorite story. Yes, we get the sonic screwdriver for the first time. Yes, Victoria leaves for a better companion to show up next one. But this is, I don't know. I've never really taken to this story in this run.
Yeah. I know I have this one on DVD.
I bought it. I've watched it once. I've had it for at least 5 years. And I don't revisit this one.
Yeah, and I'm almost struggling to remember what this one
is. It's the bad seaweed one.
Okay.
It's the bubble foam seaweed.
Oh.
Yeah. That's all I had to say. You guys should have seen his face. Ooh.
Well, so if you do want to see it, it is available on DVD. It has been animated, so you can at least see something. We're not necessarily recommending that. Instead, we're going to move on to the next one, The Wheel in Space.
If you disagree with us, at us, please, because we love this is one of those times I'll actually email me. I'll talk to you about this. So last up for the season, we have The Wheel in Space.
The Wheel in Space. Now, guess who comes back for this? The Cybermen!
Again, another reason it's a perfect season. I get my favorite monster twice.
Twice? You get it at the beginning of this season and now here again at the end of the season.
Perfect bookmark. And we get a new companion.
Yeah, so now we get Zoe.
And this is the team I think people think of most when they think of the second Doctor. It's him, Zoe, and Jamie.
Yeah.
I think that's part of also why Victoria didn't work, because he had two companions from the past. Here he's got one from the future, one from the past.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, so yeah, with Victoria and Jamie, you've got one from like the 18th century and one from the 19th century.
Yeah.
And so they're both going, what is a helicopter? You know.
Yeah. And then he's got Victoria, who's a super genius teenager from the future with awesome hair and clothes. And what I love about this, again, going back to that early Doctor Who feminism, she's just as smart as him. It doesn't intimidate him. He's like, ooh, playmate. He trusts her.
Finally, someone who can speak my language.
Yeah, pretty much. Ooh, someone understands me. Kind of like you, Justin. You're my Zoe.
There you go.
You speak Jasonese.
I do my best. But so yeah, so now we get another base, we get another siege. This time on a space station.
Yeah.
It's the Cybermen.
As far as Cybermen stories, it's not as strong as the first one, but I love that we're bookending the season with these.
Yeah, and every time the Cybermen show up, it seems like their costumes change a little bit, and they get a little bit better, a little bit more refined. It's almost like they're working on them and tinkering on them between appearances.
Well, that's one thing I love is the Cybermen constantly evolve, where the Daleks think they're perfect. There's no need to change. These guys are constantly trying to make better zombie bodies for themselves.
Yeah. more so than I think any other monster in Doctor Who, the Cybermen evolve over time. So it's fun to see these stories kind of in order, go back to those beginning ones and watch them.
And they continue to evolve. Up until about the 80s, we're going to see we're going to see them constantly change appearance to appearance. But man, I do love those 80s Cybermen. I really do.
Yeah, it'll be fun to talk about those when we get there.
Oh, David Banks, the best Cyberman ever. Wow, I'm a nerd.
Yeah, is there anything more you want to
So one thing I want to say about this one is, one thing I noticed watching this one is, I think this is the first time it happens, or it sticks out for me, where we see the TARDIS is showing like basically Matrix tapes. Like it's showing events with companions that happened without the Doctor around. And so this is deep lore here thing. It really kind of made me wonder, is the TARDIS always recording for the Matrix what's going on? Does the TARDIS get uploaded to the Matrix the same way the Doctor does? Because this is going to come back in Trial of a Time Lord in
quite a few years from now.
Yeah, 2 decades from now. Where we're seeing events that happen through the TARDIS's eyes. And so it's one of those little continuity things where I put a pin in and headcanon says,
or does it not get uploaded to the Matrix because he's stolen this one, and so it's kind of on the run, and so it's an unofficial sort of recording that maybe gets uploaded when he goes back to Gallifrey, but not until.
These are the thoughts I think, folks. Deep Doctor Who thoughts with Skipper J. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. So, Justin, what are your thoughts on season 5?
Overall, it is, like I say, it is a really good season. I love Enemy of the World just for how well it shows us Patrick Troughton's acting. Mm-hmm. And like we said, kind of also shows us a little bit of what we miss when we don't get to see that.
Yeah, like I said, those episodes really make you. Make Hulk heart sad. I can't watch it.
And this is and as a season, it introduces so many things. We had the Cybermen before, but now we get the Cybermats. We get Colonel Lethbridge Stewart. We get the Ice Warriors. We get the Great Intelligence. We get all of these things introduced.
Yeah, we're laying so many foundations for the future. Big things are going to come in 2 seasons. We don't know it yet, but they are definitely being seeded here.
They are. We get all of these things being introduced here that will be picked up on and used again later. And so that I find really fascinating about this whole season.
So if you were to give this season a letter grade, what would you give it?
I would give this an A. It's a solid season. It's got a lot to recommend there.
I think out of all the classic Who seasons, this is one that if you're just going to watch a first Doctor or a second Doctor, maybe go with this one for the second Doctor. Even though we have fantastic stuff coming up next season.
Which we will be talking about next time.
The longest story in Doctor Who history. We have the perfect story, classic Who story to introduce children to. And regeneration.
We do finally get our next regeneration next season. Yes.
And as much as I'm loving talking about the second Doctor, dude, I can't wait to get to Pertwee. That's my comfort Who. I cannot wait to talk about those seasons. So let's wrap this up so we can do the next one, so that I can gush about my love for John Pertwee and everything that is coming forward in the first Color season.
Absolutely. So. Let's wrap this up. We enjoy this season. We hope you're enjoying listening to us babble about Doctor Who.
If you want to join the conversation, if you want to disagree with us about Fury of the Deep, if you want to talk about that giant cyber brain, or just the season or Doctor Who in general, Justin, how can they get a hold of us?
Well, as always, we can go to our Facebook page, Disney Friends of the Grand Circle Tour. That's always a good place to get a hold of us. We are also on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We are everywhere.
On YouTube, smash that subscribe button. Tickle that bell for notifications for when we pop up with our live shows and our regular shows. Go to your favorite podcast feed where you're listening to us. Give us a 5-star review. Go to your friends' phones. Give a 5-star review on behalf of them. Actually, do them a favor, all your friends and family. Subscribe to this show for them and their phones. They will thank you later.
In fact, do it for your enemies as well, just to confuse them.
You know what? Do a nice thing for your enemy. It's very Sun Tzu. That's very Second Doctor, actually.
I like it.
And with that, Ken, please take it away.
The Grand Circle Tour podcast is brought to you in part by Expedition Roasters. When you visit expeditionroasters.com, use the promo code Grand Circle Tour podcast, that's all one word, and you will receive 10% off of your purchase. If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to visit our Facebook page, Disney Friends of the Grand Circle Tour podcast. While you're on Facebook, like our page, Grand Circle Tour podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, on Instagram at GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. On TikTok, Grand Circle Tour. That's all one word. If you'd like to email us, drop us a line, gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merch can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your visit, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Only one rule, make it good. All logos, sounds, music, and songs that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned in full by the Disney Corporation, and they are not, nor are they intended to be owned in any way by the Grand Circle Tour Podcast. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.
Doctor, you're being childish.
Well, of course I am. There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.